Welcome to Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson, and I've got two very special guests with me today. Connor is now in Germany, and so he's going to be off for about a week from the podcast. This is, I believe, the first one he's not going to be on. So hope he has fun, though. He's going to be there for a while, visiting family and having a good time. He's never been there, so I'm excited for him. But I'm also excited to have my two older brothers, Adam and Jeremy, on today to talk about Bourne Ultimatum from 2007. It won 3 Oscars at the 80th Academy Awards. And this is one of those trilogies that all three of us, when we were growing up, watched a lot. I'd call them Blaine and Julie movies. Our parents, they definitely liked them, and they were always on TV, it seemed like TBS and TNT. And Adam, I want to kick it to you first, because I believe you're the biggest fan of these out of us three.
I am, and I I'll get into full reasons why, I guess, as we kind of like talk about them a little bit more. But essentially, I think they just hit me at a time when I was kind of like getting like more curious about just like the world in general, and like different types of movies and different genres of movies, other than just the animated stuff we watched growing up, and then the comedies of kind of like the late '90s, early 2000s. And I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of a different thing. And then I'd seen action movies before, and it's like, oh, this is certainly not just like a straight action movie. There's a depth to it. And clearly a source material behind it that's like much smarter and kind of like classier than just like a shoot 'em up, action movie. There's a lot of like layers to it that I just really like. I can like freely admit that they're not like the very best movies of like the decade or anything like that, but like they're kind of, we talk about the difference between like favorites and best, but they're some of my favorite movies. They're not some of the very best movies I've seen, but they are some of my favorite movies like ever for me.
The trilogy.
Yeah.
You have the Doug Liman does Bourne Identity. That's my personal favorite. And then Supremacy and Ultimatum are both Paul Greengrass. And then you have that random one with Jeremy Renner. And then
I never watched that one.
Yeah. And then you have the last one, Jason Bourne from 2016. And that was, so there's 5 movies technically in the franchise. You spoke to the books. Robert Ludlum is like an absolute legend. And he passed away right before the first movie came out. And so it's kind of cool that his legacy lives on.
Yeah, and I've read quite a bit of which one. There's one that came out like shortly after that, and it was one that wasn't written by Robert Ludlum, but like the kind of guy that came after him. I should look up the name.
That's right. I think I have a copy of that too.
Yeah, and he's written a bunch like kind of like in the same vein, like Robert Ludlum's Bourne whatever, and he's written a bunch of other ones. So I've read like one of the ones that's in the series. It's after the 3 movies that came out. But yeah, Bourne Legacy is the one with Jeremy Renner, and actually on the rewatch was like pretty good. Yeah, but not nearly as good as these 3. And then Jason Bourne is just not very good at all.
Yeah. So Jeremy, how was your rewatch of the trilogy? What I think you're the least likely to movies up in conversation.
I mean, I think there's a few things that the both of y'all kind of hold a little bit higher. Like, I mean, I guess there's not a lot, but we always talk about like Social Network and like, well, David Fincher in general, like they all love so much, and that I never really been as into. And this is definitely one of those as well. I remember watching them as a kid. Like, I feel like I don't know if we watched them all together like the first time at the same time. I remember watching like DVDs from Blockbuster. That's what I remember. I feel like I watched these the first time. I remember holding Bourne Supremacy in my hand, right? And I thought these movies were rad as hell when I was a kid. And I've always held them up to be like, oh, they're fine. They're like rad action movies, and that's where it ends. But this time around, I don't know. I didn't like them as much this time around. This time around, Identity is definitely like by a couple leaps and bounds my favorite, but I don't know. It's not hitting. They're not hitting me the same way they did when I was younger. I'm not sure why. I don't think it's like I definitely don't think they don't like hold up. I think they're still solid 2000s action movies, like that objectively. But for me, I don't know. They're still rad though.
Yeah, it's
Matt Damon.
entertaining. But
It's by no stretch like bad movies. Just movies that maybe are just not my shit anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
so
I don't. Yeah, well, let's get into them though. We can talk about why and all that. But
so the key differences, I think, in the first one, Born Identity, directed by Doug Liman, who's kind of like an independent guy, and you can tell it's pretty raw, pretty like untamed, like madness. And I just like the origin story at the beginning for Bourne. The second two movies, Supremacy and Ultimatum, clearly go up in like production quality and like how much money they had for the budget.
it's obvious that the budget went way up. Yeah, and I like that it was more like that. It was raw. Like Identity was like the action was not as like oh my god, look at all this crazy shit happening. Like it's like the action was like, oh man, look at Jason Bourne. He's on the edge of a building. You know, like it was a little less crazy, and I think the budget has something to do with that. Like that this was probably a smaller team of people trying to do a send up of like something they really loved. I don't think it's like Greengrass came in and ruined the franchise or anything, but the tone changes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the tone changes,
and you also lose. To me, a key factor in the first one, Chris Cooper, his character is so awesome.
I mean, best character in the franchise. So.
Yeah, he's so good, and losing him like kind of sucks. Brian Cox definitely, he's there in the second one. He's pretty vital to the story in the second one. But those two guys, like that kind of tandem in the first movie is like my favorite thing about it.
More so than them, like, well, I mean, losing Chris Cooper is huge, and the way they kind of write him off in the second one is like, come on, like what? Like we don't even get to see him, and who knows? It's probably not anyone in particular's fault. Maybe Chris Cooper didn't want to do it. Maybe they didn't want to bring it back. His scheduling shit. Maybe who knows? But like, maybe do y'all know?
I don't.
Why he was not? I never.
Why Chris
Cooper wasn't even there. There's just like a quick scene where Brian Cox, like, it's alluded that. What's Brian Cox's name? I know everyone's name except for him. I feel like I don't know. Whatever.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. But so Brian Cox. It's alluded that Brian Cox had him murdered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and Brian Cox
in the first one.
Yeah, we see him get shot in the first one
in the alley.
For real?
Yeah, that's why I was like, "What do you mean bring him back?" I was like, "He's dead."
Yeah, yeah. No, I thought they were gonna do flash.
I feel like the last scene was where Chris Cooper just gets like rocked in the face by Jason Bourne.
No, remember he's walking the street.
No, it's like a different guy.
All right, well, yeah,
in that one asset.
I definitely missed something.
Yeah, that asset takes him out. Yeah.
All right.
Brian Cox's name is Ward Abbott.
Abbott, yeah.
Warren Abbott. Okay.
Abbott and Conklin are
Conklin. Yeah.
Well, okay. But the other thing that I think was lost after in the second two movies was like in this I've never really held like the Marie character, like Marie Kreutz. I don't know that actor's name, but like
Franca Potente.
How much? What is it?
Franca Potente.
Okay. I don't know why that would change anything, but yeah, that's her name.
Credit.
But she like humanizes Jason so much. Like we get to kind of see like just his shit kind of bounce off of her, and she's also this kind of wayward, vagrant type person.
Yeah.
Without her in the second movie, like it's harder to like. I don't know if you're really supposed to relate to Jason, but you're definitely supposed to feel the way, like you're supposed to feel his like pain and his trauma, right? And it's so much easier to feel that with Marie, and maybe that's the point of Supremacy, that she dies, so quickly. We're not worried about spoilers, right? I mean,
no.
If you haven't seen the Bourne movies by now,
the newest one is 15 years old. Yeah,
yeah.
The newest one is 15 years old.
Well, this one, Bourne Ultimatum.
Ultimatum. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I also did not see Jason Bourne. I was gonna watch it.
I don't remember.
We saw it in theaters.
Yeah, in Chicago. Yeah. I
don't remember. Y'all saw it together in theaters?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care. I just didn't want to see it.
You're not missing it.
It's not great.
I had never heard that it wasn't good though. I didn't know it wasn't good.
Maybe
that's why I've never wanted to see it though, like because no one's ever told me it's good. I don't know. Comparatively, right. No shade to whoever made that movie, but
one question I definitely had while I was watching them was, do you guys like between the first two movies? Well, I'll go with those two. Carl Urban in the second one or Clive Owen in the first one? Like, who's scarier?
Jeremy.
Clive Owen, dude.
Yeah. Jeremy, every time Carl Urban's on the screen, I just thought of that time when I was up there and we were doing the Australian in Australian accent. Yeah, Caleb. And but yeah, no, that's all I can think of. No,
that all Australian accents, like names, are easy to say in like shitty Australian accents.
With the Australian accent. Yeah.
Caleb and
So
I just watched 2 Towers yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Carl Urban shines in that movie. Yeah, but to answer the question, Clive Owen. I like Clive Owen's like quieter, and I mean Carl Urban is scarier, sure, but like I like
the Professor.
Yeah,
I like Clive Owen's. I like his role and his kind of his conflict with Jason. That's not like let's beat the shit out of each other and drive cars into each other. Like it's him in a field, like and that, I mean that scene him and Clive Owen when he finally gets to him is pretty rad.
Yeah, I think that's an underrated part of these 3 movies is the amount of Carl Urban and Clive Owen type people that pop up in them. You're like, oh yeah, wow, like this person's in this, and like they went on to like really good things, or like they had done other things, and it's like I kind of forgot like they had a pretty big role in this stuff. Like they're all 3 very well cast. Like I think that is a real strength of all 3 movies. But and even the guy that plays Eamon, the one that owns the house that they go to in the first one, like that guy's good. You know, like those little kids, and it's like. I mean, that like just a very well drawn characters, and that's again
that's like Marie's acquaintance.
Yeah, like X. Yeah,
right.
I assume it's like an X of some sort. Yeah,
that's what. Yeah, I feel like that's what we're kind of led to believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Marie's brother is played by Daniel Bruhl.
I know Daniel Bruhl pops up. Yeah.
Well, so I mean, so like Clive Owen wasn't like huge yet, and like Carl Urban had already done Lord of the Rings at this point, right?
Yes.
Because that's
04 is Supremacy.
04 is Supremacy,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he at least like, I mean, but he didn't get huge from that. I mean, really, it's kind of like The Boys is what shot Carl Urban into the stardom that he has now, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
He's never really done anything else that like made him like really famous. That was
at least here in the States, I mean, I'm sure he's been in.
Sure.
Well, you're not famous until you're famous in the States.
Oh yeah.
We're the center of the world, as these movies taught me. The center of the world.
So good, yeah. There's a lot of cool cast members. So if you had to choose, since we're really going to hone in on Ultimatum for our awards, if you had to choose between the first 2 movies, like what's your favorite bits from those movies? Like favorite scene, favorite characters? Like who are you going with?
So the very opening scenes in the first one, like on the boat, are so good. Like they really draw you into that world really well. They feel like I'm reading a book.
Like he's like in the Mediterranean. He's been shot.
Yeah, and like there's just so much mystery involved. Like even though obviously I know the story, I've watched them a bunch of times, but like I vividly remember that very first time watching it. Like, oh, this is like just really like it grabbed me right away.
Super compelling.
And that kind of the guy who plays that captain of that ship is just another kind of just like really strong like supporting
he's like ends up on the like an Italian ship or something, right?
But then dropped off.
Well, then what's I don't remember. They fish him out of the water though, right?
So he falls in the water off the coast of Marseille, but I don't think I think they're in Italy when he gets off the boat. So
well, and that for sure is Identity is like Identity by far has like the best narrative, and maybe that's because it's like where it is in the story. But it's the most entertaining narrative. Like, I mean, this. What's his name? Like Aduel, Kinuawe,
Mr. Echo from Lost.
Abgaje, I think is his name.
The place
might have butchered that, but he plays Wombosi, like I mean the scene where he's got the gun to his head, and like they reveal later on like why he froze and like why he fucked up the job, because like he just saw like Wombosi's like holding his children,
kids,
that like that, it's a better story, man. Like
and you're trying to figure it out with him, you know, like that's kind of the whole point. Like you're trying to figure it out along with him.
Yeah, one of my favorite shots from the first one is when he finds all the passports, and you're like, oh man, like
and all the money,
I still get that weird.
That bank scene's so good.
Oh yeah, I still get that weird kind of sensation, like I'm 12 years old again, where I'm like, oh man, the mystery. Again, like Adam said,
that is when it starts to like unfold and what the hell's going on. I mean, like I think in the first, I mean, the Chris Cooper like screaming at him in the room, like it's pretty. But I've always thought it was really cool, and I've never seen this in another action movie, and I don't know how like realistic this is to actual like gun combat. But when he's holding like one gun like upside down, like in the stairwell scene.
Oh yeah.
In Identity, like I always thought that was cool as hell. I don't know. He's holding one of them upside down and pulling the trigger with his pinky. Like, you know, I doubt that that's like an actual thing you would ever want to do with a firearm, but it just looks fucking badass, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they're you know, I think I would kind of bristle at someone being like they're just action movies, you know, like I think they're quite a bit like more than that.
Yeah.
But man, there's some great action sequences in all three of them. Like each one has like a really impressive like the car chase in Identity, like in the streets of Paris is
Ready,
so good.
Steady, Go.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason that they made like $800 million.
Yeah.
But there's also a reason that people still talk about them now.
Yeah.
And for better or worse, like there's a reason it was up for 3 Oscars and won the last movie. So the first two
still if you kind of want to make fun of like when someone would just kind of like poke fun at Matt Damon, like you just call him Jason Bourne, you know, and it's not necessarily poking fun, but you know what I mean, like like so I was watching There Will Be Blood, and I'm watching Daniel Day-Lewis and like his like one of his boys, and it's the guy who plays Mance Rayder, and I was like, it's Bill the Butcher and Mance Rayder, you know, like Matt Damon's Jason Bourne, you know, that's the even though that's not the character I love him for, like it's just kind of it's the easiest one to fall back on because it's maybe the most culturally relevant. I think.
I mean, I think it's what catapulted him. Obviously, Good Will Hunting in '97.
Sure, as an actor, Good Will Hunting was the one.
But like as a superstar, a movie star, I think it's
just it was definitely the Bourne movies. I mean, I have nothing to back that up. Like I don't know what I would need to back that up, but I feel like that's the answer right there. Yeah, is it? Yeah, that's the thing that really made him a star. I think
it's not Stuck on You.
Yeah,
which comes in between Identity and Supremacy, which is where he
don't bring up Stuck on You, man. I'm gonna bring it up later, bro.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna bring that up. I did not watch that one again.
Okay, so Matt Damon, obviously, you know, this is a good way to kind of segue into talking about him. A big reason why us three wanted to do this movie and do this episode was to talk about Matt Damon. So we've done a few drafts on this Oscar Sunday show before. It's usually a year or a director. Very rarely have we done an actor. But Matt Damon has so many fucking roles that it allows all three of us to really participate, pick some fun roles, pick some wacky ones, pick some good ones. So we're each going to pick 5. That feels fair to you guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, 15 movies out of like literally over 100, and he's still, he's not an old guy. He's been in so many damn movies.
Yeah, he's going to continue to be in really good stuff, I think, from here on out. And if you listen to him talk in interviews, which I've listened to a few times, like I think he like really loves acting. Like he really just loves his job. He's like, no, I get like a real thrill out of different characters and stuff like that. And
he's only 52 also.
I know, yeah. So he's got a whole another wave of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited for his like old man phase.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be a unique guy, like of his generation. I'm more interested in him than a lot of guys that are his age to see like what they do.
Me too, and what I like about him. He's one of my very favorite actors. I mean, really, one of my handful of very favorite actors. I mean, partly because of these movies, and then like everything else that he's done. And I like that he takes chances and like doesn't feel like he's too big to just like have this like really tiny role in like a Steven Soderbergh movie. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like I think that's so cool.
Or be like, hey, fuck it, I'll be in Thor for like 5 minutes. I like that about him.
Me too.
But I also like that he still does. What's that one that just came out like a year ago? Stillwater. Like he still does movies like that.
Yeah.
Of that caliber. Take a chance, tell a true story.
Yeah.
Try to learn something about yourself. Like those things are cool that he's willing to go there. And then he's got 25 years, almost 30 years now of all kinds of shit. And I'm excited to get into it. I definitely have my eye on a few that I really want, but I think we're going to be gunning for the same ones.
I think we all do. Yeah.
So
I have ones that I don't know if y'all will pick, and then I have the ones that like both of y'all will probably want.
Yeah. Well, and the fun part is finding out if actually we do all want the same ones. You just never know with these. So Adam, you're going to pick first.
I didn't know you loved that movie.
Yeah. Oh, my brother.
And then we become closer. It's going to be great.
Adam, you'll pick first. Jeremy, you'll pick second. I'll pick third.
Wait, we're starting that right now?
Yeah, we're gonna get that.
Oh, okay.
Rolling.
Okay.
Okay. So we're doing snake draft for sure.
Yep.
So like when I pick, I'll pick 2 in a row. Then we'll go back to Jeremy back down.
And just to be clear, we're picking... Go ahead, Jeremy.
Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say, is someone gonna write this down? Is someone of y'all keeping track?
I am.
Austin has it. Yeah.
Okay.
And just to be clear, we are picking roles, not movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you can't be like, oh, well, I'll take Jason Bourne in this, and then like someone else is like, once Jason Bourne's picked, that's it. Like that's
yeah. So I mean, you're technically like taking characters. I mean, really, the only one that would come into play on that would be like, what the hell's his name? And there's 2 franchises where he plays the same guy twice.
Right.
Oceans.
Yeah.
Well,
Oceans
then also the
Bourne,
MCU where he plays actor Loki twice.
True.
But I don't know if we're gonna any of us are gonna take that, but.
It's not on my list.
We're the character. We're drafting the role or the character, right?
Correct.
Pause or stop it?
Yeah.
All right, Adam, take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay.
And please state the year it came out and all that jazz if you can.
Yeah.
I'll remember if you don't.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the reason I kind of question that a little bit is because I'm taking Jason Bourne as the number 1 pick.
Okay.
So there's not an individual year that it came out, but obviously the 4 different movies.
If you had to choose a movie, which one do you think is his best performance, or your favorite?
So I think the actual best performance might be in Supremacy because of the kind of range he has to play with the like he's just kind of confused and like angry at times in Identity, but obviously he has like something to lose in Supremacy, and I think you see a bigger range of kind of like emotions that he has to play. And so I would say maybe
there's like nothing to lose in Supremacy, right?
Big time physical performance too.
Okay, so with the first pick, I will take Jason Bourne. So to give you a specific year, I guess I can't really do that, given that it's 5 or 4 movies for him that he was in. But I guess if you had to pick a performance that I found the best, I would go with Supremacy, because I think he shows the biggest kind of range of emotion in that movie because of having Marie and something to lose in that regard is just different than the first movie and the third, really. So like where the first and the third, he's on more of kind of a man on a mission. First one, he's like kind of confused, obviously figuring out there's obviously tons of amnesia involved there. So that's all really good. But he does play that in the first one, that kind of like, bewildered guy really well. So I think that, again, this is the most iconic role. He's really good in all 3 of these. So, or all 4 of them.
I think
Jason Bourne, first pick.
I think the reason I would lean Identity is because the passport picture is like the Good Will Hunting haircut. The little I love that little part.
And they keep that photo in the third one for the Gilberto de Piento, Brazilian one,
which is hilarious.
Yeah,
Matt,
he loses his mind on Julia Stiles in Supremacy. Like that's like the closest I think we ever get to seeing him just having like a full on mental breakdown. Like, and I don't know. That's why if you watch Supremacy and Ultimatum back to back, like the first time he sees Nikki, right?
Yeah.
The first time he sees Nikki again, it's just kind of like, whoa, Nikki, like you're being way too nice to this guy. Like he goes so crazy. Like, and that's the thing I remembered from like a long time ago was like, oh, like Nikki is kind of like they're buds in the last one, and I was like, whoa, like he's like pushing the gun against her head, and understandably so. I'm not trying to knock Jason or anything, but it's understandable where Jason's coming from. But
so real quick before we go to the number 2 pick, what did y'all read on the conversation she has in that third one about like, with you and like me, it was different. Like I it made me think that like they must have had a relationship at some point.
Yeah, and look, I really like these movies. They're all like 8 out of 10 for me. Like I have a blast, but I have like a problem in Ultimatum. The like last shot is her like, yeah. When you like find out that the reporter's like, and for 3 days they haven't found his body, and it goes, does the Moby extreme ways, and they show her like, yeah, I always knew he had, had it in him. I get that she's like connected to him in the third movie, but I also read into it like, what is the relationship between those two?
Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
Like, were they dating before he decided to do this?
Maybe. And
that's
she
kinda,
and she can't say that.
Yes, that's my read on it. That like she kind of like beats around the bush about it, and like that one time she kind of grabs his hand, and it's it's like, oh, they may have been like romantically involved like before this
Julia
a thing. Yeah.
Well, that's something that like bothers me. That like I feel like there's a few different times in Ultimatum where the characters will say to Jason like, "Oh, you don't remember? Like you really don't remember?" Like it's kind of a crutch they lean on a little too much in Ultimatum, and the fact that the movie opens up with yet another flashback of something we've not been told about at all yet, like it just like as a cohesive trilogy and all three of them together. Like that's kind of where like I remember I watched them like you watch them like in the years that they were released, like those years apart. When we watch them like all back to back, it's just kind of like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Especially with Nikki, it was like, why are you okay with why are you helping this guy? Like, dude, he was so crazy before. But then if there's also like this hinting at like something else going on, that would answer that. But it's super vague. Like I actually watched it twice, like in the last couple weeks, and I'm always like, what are they about to talk about when she says that? Like, you don't remember, dude. Like, she was always different with you, and it's like, what are you talking about? And we're never really given a clear answer, and like, I guess that's the point.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, Matt Damon's killing it in these movies. Not to take away from the pick.
Never. No.
I think that's so confused.
That's a good first pick. I think he was going to go off the board at some point. So why not? Why not take it now? Adam's looking.
I was not going to take it.
I would have if it would have. I would have if it flipped a couple rounds. I would have.
If no one else did, yeah, it's like you can't not take the character who is the
the episode
focus of the episode.
Oh yeah, like certainly he was going to go in the top.
Yes,
4 or 5,
15.
Yeah. So I just while you were talking, I'm looking at the books. I'm trying to remember which one I read. So the only 3 that Robert Ludlum actually wrote were the first 3: Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, and Bourne Ultimatum. They came out in 1980, 1986, and then 1990.
Wow.
Which is a similar split to
02, 04, 07.
Yeah. But then I remember this guy, Eric Van Lustbader, was the guy who wrote the following ones, and he wrote the Bourne Legacy, which is obviously the one, the 4th book. And he's written a bunch since then, including one that came out this year, The Bourne Sacrifice.
Jeez.
But Eric Van Lustbader.
Yeah, that's what
I read. Is
I
the
thought
Deception.
there was like a long series, like
yeah.
I guess that's just because someone else carried it on.
Yeah, The Bourne Deception is the one I read. Came out in 2009.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Was it any good?
It was good. Yeah, it was very good. Yeah.
Is Matt Damon in it?
Huh?
Or is it that Jeremy Renner guy? Yeah.
Or is it a fucking Jeremy Renner?
Well played.
Jeremy, you have the second pick.
Huh?
You have the second
pick. I got the second pick? I sure do. All right. Well, yeah, I'll start with something that we can all talk about. We go with Colin Sullivan.
Yeah.
Colin Sullivan, Massachusetts Stadies. From The Departed, 2006. He plays Francis Costello's mole in the Massachusetts State Police.
Great pick.
Fucking pussies.
Yeah. I got fucking firefights.
All right, so I've told y'all that I kind of have like a murky history with this movie. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I know I've talked to you about it, Austin. I'm positive I've talked to you about how much I like hated this movie when I saw it again in my like early 20s. I watched it as a teenager and I was like, this is the greatest movie ever. And then And then I the first time I watched it was with you, Adam. It was like one of the first R-rated movies I ever watched. And then then I saw it again. I was like, nah, this movie sucks. And then but then I watched it again. This is the most recent. I watched a ton of Matt Damon movies for this, and this was the most like recent one I finished. Like a couple days ago. Well, I watched Ultimatum this morning, but like I liked it a lot more this time, and I think part of it was how much I focused on Matt Damon. Like, I think this time around, like one of the actors that really bothers me in this movie is Jack Nicholson. Like,
yeah,
a lot of his scenes make zero fucking sense, and once he's dead, like it's like it makes more the movie hits a little bit better, man.
No,
like, Matt Damon. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think if you if you think of like that movie as like a basketball team, it's a loaded cast, and as like a basketball coach, I have to like figure out like, okay, who gets shots, like who do I kind of like spread the wealth around to? They too many shots for the what is it, Frank Costello? That's the character's name.
I mean, it's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, so, Jack Nicholson. I get that, but it's like if I could take a few shots away from the Frank Costello character and give them to like Dignam, the Mark Wahlberg character,
Mark Wahlberg. It's
so
like Mark Wahlberg's
hilarious in that movie.
Yeah. Well, Mark Wahlberg, out of all the supporting people, he's the one who got the Oscar nomination.
Yeah,
he's the one people remember most, like heat check performance from that movie.
Also, Alec Baldwin. I wish got more shine.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that whole bit between them two, type "fuck you, mother." Yeah, that whole bit is great.
But I love Martin Sheen, dude. Martin Sheen, like Queenan, is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. Anthony Anderson, Vera Farmiga.
Anthony Anderson, yeah.
But
so that's one of the things about this movie is there's just like things that are in this movie that's like, why is this a fucking thing? Like in the beginning of the movie, there's a clip where they're interviewing a black man in Boston, and he's like, man, like life's just so hard here or whatever. And then Jack Nicholson's like, well, what they don't get is you gotta take it. It's like, what? Like the movie's not even about that. Like, what the fuck? He's like, they were talking about the Irish the same way, and now we got the presidency. It's like, what? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like mindless dribble. But like the like final act of this movie, like from the time that like Queenan gets thrown off the roof, to like the last confrontation, or like I guess the first confrontation between Sullivan and Costigan is like lights out, man. Like, and that's the exact way I watched it. The whole movie, I was like, yeah, whatever this movie. But I was like, I was in it for that last portion of the movie. Like zeroing in on Matt Damon though, like how much of like an infantile, like man child and like coward he actually is.
Yes.
Like there's the thing where Vera Farmiga is like, it's okay that you like we're led to believe that he couldn't perform sexually the night before, right?
Right.
And she's like, it's okay, it happens a lot, it's normal. And he's like, fuck you, like. And then later, Alec Baldwin's like, it's good to have a wife, people don't think you're a homo, or they know your cock works. Like, and he's like, oh, it's working overtime, like, it's like just like that's always been a funny line to me. It's always been a funny line, but I've never linked it to the thing that happened earlier in the movie, like, because it's not working overtime, and that's why he says it. Like, I've just never paid enough attention to David. Like, he's never been my favorite part of this movie, but like, he's killing it, man. Like, his character is great. Like, he leans way too hard in the Boston accent sometimes, but like, I mean, he's from Cambridge. I don't know, what if that means anything, but like, focusing on Damon maybe made me like the movie a little bit better. I don't know, but. This is one of his roles where he's a complete piece of shit. It's a lot of fun. So I don't know.
Austin and I do the overtime quote a lot. Overtime.
I love that line. The part is good. I think over the years people have like realized, it's the movie that won Best Picture for Scorsese and Best Director, and it's like, it's not his best work, but it is a good movie. It's a lot of fun. Leo and Matt Damon kind of at their apex, like going toe to toe. And Damon's great. Colin Sullivan's arguably, his best performance of his career. So I think that's a great pick. I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah,
It was
I
high
mean,
on my list.
that one that's like one of my favorite just scenes of like vulnerability of Damon, like when he's in the elevator and he's like, you know what I'm talking about at the end, right? Like
Yeah.
he's cuffed, like he's done, he's caught, and he's like, fuck you, they'll never believe you, like fuck you, I'm gonna get out of this, like, and then like he stops for a second and he's just panting, and he's like, there's tears, like a sob coming out of his throat, and he's like, just kill me now, like,
Yeah.
like that
Brilliant.
that little piece of Damon, like is pretty rad, man. Like
Yeah.
one
To
of my
go
favorite
from-
things out of all these ones I've watched.
To go from School Ties to that in like 10 years, pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Pretty good growth as a performer. All right, I got two in a row here, so I'll knock them out.
Oh, Snake, yeah, Snake. All right,
Yeah.
2 in a row.
First pick is going to be my favorite movie he's in and my favorite performance of his. And that's Rounders from 2000. From 1998.
Nice.
Mike McD.
Mike McDermott.
Yeah, that's my guy. I love Rounders to death.
It was high on my list.
I chose Rounders for a draft that Connor and I did. I can't remember, or top 5. I can't remember. But Rounders is like probably my favorite movie from that year outside of Big Lebowski. I know it's like not great and it's got like plot holes, but I just have so much fucking fun with that cast and with everything that's going on.
Yeah, Famke.
Yeah. Mike Mc. Mike McD and Wormer, it's one of my favorite duos of all time, and it's my favorite poker movie. Damon in that though is doing kind of the thing he had to do at that time was go toe to toe with Malkovich, John Turturro, Edward Norton, all these different actors that are awesome. Martin Landau, he does these big, kind of dramatic scenes with those guys, and he holds his own. And
you're forgetting a certain woman who watches the counter.
Oh yeah, at the place where he plays against Malkovich, right?
Yeah.
What's her name?
What?
What's her name? Since you brought it up,
What's your name?
Famke Janssen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Also, what's his girlfriend kind of sucks.
She also plays Jean Grey in the X-Men movies. Just
there you
a
go.
little bit of trivia.
Good shout. Yeah, anyway, I love Rounders. If you guys weren't going to take it, I knew I was going to take it the whole time. But my second one will be this is tough. I'm going to go Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of a boring, easy pick, but I don't know.
I mean, yes, but like, is it not arguably one of his best? I mean,
yeah, he writes the screenplay.
If not his best, like, I watched that. I rewatched that, thinking like, yeah, I mean, this is a good movie. I'll enjoy it, and like, I cried several times, mostly because of Robin Williams.
For sure.
But no, that's easily in the running for his best role, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and is the reason he is who he is today. It's when you write a screenplay that good and you perform and you execute it, and it is up for Best Picture and wins screenplay, and Robin Williams wins the Oscar for supporting actor. Like those things matter in Hollywood, and I don't think he's born without that. I don't think he is what he is today. And I like finding those. So I'll go 1997, 1988, Rounders and Good Will Hunting, and back to you, Jeremy.
Nice. Well, I do want to real quick. I know we're not talking about Ben Affleck at all, but I feel like we're doing a Matt Damon draft. We need to talk about Ben Affleck a little bit. We need to talk about Matt Damon's best fucking friend, Ben Affleck, and I want any movie that Ben Affleck shows up in, I want to talk about him just a little bit. So I just want to say, when Ben Affleck fucking dies and they're playing his reel at the end of his life, like his greatest fucking scene is when he fucking tells Will, like, I like that he's like the best 10 seconds of his day is when he thinks that when he goes to pick Will up, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, the best 10 seconds of my day are when I think that, you're not going to be there, and you
Not
just
gonna be
left without saying goodbye or whatever. I can't remember everything. He says
Yeah.
something about like, if you're still coming to my house watching Patriots games, like in 10 years, like I'll fucking kill you myself, you know,
Yeah.
like that like Ben Affleck is like so great in that scene, man. Like,
Yeah.
I felt that it's fucking real. Like, and Casey Affleck's his brother. Let's just bring him up real quick too. But I don't know. But I don't want to dwell too long on it unless y'all want to appreciate Ben Affleck real quick. Are you good on it? Because we could.
I'm always down to appreciate Ben Affleck. I think he's got a much more fascinating career than Matt Damon does because of all the controversy and especially the past decade playing, Batman and being completely shit on. Matt Damon's never really had that. Matt Damon's had a couple things he's said that were like out of line during interviews and stuff, but he's never been like hated. Ben Affleck has been hated, and I like that he's kind of made a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
like,
I mean, he's
I don't know how you
done
could
that
like
like
watch
several times.
I don't know how you could watch like Good Will Hunting or I mean, even it goes far back as like Dazed and Confused, and I'd be like, man, this is like such an interesting screen presence, and like at the very least, be like, what a cool like character this guy is able to play. But Jeremy, that scene of Good Will Hunting, yeah, that gets me every time too. Like it's just like wow, like yeah, the most real like it's like they know those guys. Like
Yes.
they wrote that. It's like that's so clearly like people they knew and people that like. That's just such a so well drawn.
They probably practiced that bit of dialogue in the kitchen, like 2 a.m. in the morning, drinking, fucking PBR and like crying to themselves
and watching Patriots games.
Yeah. The Sox. Yeah, we did The Town not that long ago on this show, and Connor and I talked a lot about Affleck, of course, and just what a crazy career.
Yeah, I mean, and that really is like because watching all these Matt Damon movies, like Ben Affleck shows up a few times,
Yeah,
he's going to show up again in a second. But
all right, well, perfect.
I just watched this like slideshow, or not watched. I just like flipped through this slideshow of like the pictures of them together over the years, like attending each other premieres. And I don't know, man. Like, gotta talk about Affleck when you talk about Damon, I think. Yeah. And so, Austin, you did what you said, 97, 98?
Yeah, Good Will Hunting Rounders are my first.
I gotta hit 99 with Kevin Smith's Dogma.
Damn it!
Wow. Okay.
Where Matt Damon plays Loki, the exiled angel of death, which and probably like his most ridiculous role.
100%.
Who has he's plays an angel who like when he was drunk quit being the angel of death and was banished to Wisconsin for all eternity, which is part of the reason why I always thought Wisconsin was probably like the worst place. And I live in Minnesota right next to Wisconsin. It's not that great. It's not the worst place, but like I don't particularly, I don't know. It's the same as whatever, but I don't know. It's not as bad as like, I just thought like, oh, Wisconsin's got to be the worst place ever because like Kevin Smith decided that these angels were going to get banished to Wisconsin. But enough about that. Matt Damon has like that thing he has in the 90s. Like the thing that he just had perfected was that like shit eating grin, man, that smirk. Like that smart ass grin, like that is just so fucking great. Like he's such an asshole, like all the time. But this is another movie where he gets to act a lot with Ben Affleck. Like really, probably the only other movie aside from Good Will Hunting that they get to like just be like best bros together. And there are some great scenes in this movie. I mean, Dogma is a movie. Basically, like it's like a lampoon of Catholicism.
Yeah.
These two angels figure out a loophole, and they're gonna like destroy the world. I don't know. The plot is weird, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but I want to spotlight this one scene where they decide they're gonna go like kill a bunch of executives of like a fast food chain, and Ben Affleck goes on this long rant. And before they go do that, Matt Damon, Loki, is like, if I had a dick, I'd get laid. And he's like, so we're gonna do the next best thing. And Ben Affleck's like, what's that? And he's like, we're gonna kill people. The lady next to him like spits up her coffee, and he's like, not you. So there's tons of great scenes like that where like they're just have this like absolute disregard for life. It's a super fun Matt Damon role, and I think barring just like what his best performance is, I think it's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's like it's the sweet spot in his career. It's right after Good Will Hunting, so he like knows he's the shit. But it's before he just like plunges headlong into this like what becomes kind of a storied career that's still going.
Yeah. Not that long ago.
He fucking rules in this movie.
You'll love this, Jeremy. Like maybe 2 months ago, Connor and I covered First Reformed, the Paul Schrader film from a few years ago. And,
right on.
We did top 5 religious-based movies, and he had Dogma in his top 5. Connor did.
Dogma's gotta be one. Dogma's gotta be number one, man.
Yeah, he went on and on about how awesome Dogma is, and it caused me to go back and rewatch it because I remember you liked it a lot. And God, that is a funny fucking movie. And it's like one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies too. So it's like a sweet spot for multiple
It's
reasons.
easily my favorite Kevin Smith movie, and it's not like as far as like its production quality and like its score and its dialogue and its acting, it's not like it's not a piece of art on that level, but like what it makes up for in all of that is how fucking creative it is.
Yeah, wacky.
Yeah, and it's a very fun comedy that's playing with something that's very serious, like a thing that's like really traumatic for a lot of people. And it's full of like famous people, Janine Garofalo's in it, like George Carlin, Chris Rock, Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
Alanis Morissette shows up at the end, like it's got the the usual Kevin Smith folks like Jason Lee and Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith playing Silent Bob, of course. Like, Kevin Smith movies are not for everybody, but like this Kevin Smith movie is like wacky and ridiculous enough. Like, Matt. I haven't seen Matt Damon like do something quite like that. Like, I think out of all the ones that, at least all the ones I rewatched, like, it's I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun. It's like basically if Will and Chucky from Good Will Hunting were angels, like, and we're in a fantasy comedy. I don't know, but I'm rambling now. So, Adam, I think you're next with 2.
Yeah,
I got 2 picks.
I got 2 in a row. Okay, the first one I'm gonna go with maybe the most like underrated, really funny, just good, like like movie I've seen in a long time. And I'm gonna go with Mark Whitaker. From The Informant, the Steven Soderbergh. I didn't write the years. I'm sorry. I didn't. Do you know what year?
2009.
2009. I was gonna guess 9 or 10. Yeah, it just holds up. Like, so funny. Like, I really enjoyed it the first time I saw it, and then I watched it again a few years later. Then I watched it with my friend Eric, who Austin knows. And yeah, just I think it's like one of the funniest Soderbergh movies. One of his funniest performances. Shows his range again. Totally ridiculous. Just about essentially a guy who acts like he doesn't really know what's going on, but he very much is like playing both sides of this. Like, what kind of company is it? It's like some sort of like, kind of. I mean, they're
like an agriculture. They're like
company. They're
like dealing with like the science behind like fucking corn syrup or shit like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I know there's that opening monologue where he's talking about corn, like corn syrup and how it's in everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not what it is. It's something else. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's just funny. Yeah, it's just very funny. Again, it shows his range and one of the most underrated movies of the last, I don't know, 12, 15 years. So
it's 13 years old now.
Look at that. Like the film poster, man. Like the thumbnail when you're watching that, like, and it's just that picture of him like looking up with that kind of like wide open mouth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
That brings me so much joy every time I see it. Like,
I mean,
are you looking at it right now?
You know?
Yeah, Christian Bale.
Yeah,
or like Matt Damon.
Anyway, okay, so that'd be pick number.
And it's him and Soderbergh. Like, it's a cool tandem.
So also
the sixth pick.
The score of that movie, like, fucking rules.
Man. Yes. Also, shout out to Melanie Linksey. Very good, underrated. Okay,
Yeah.
so starting off round 3, right? This is the number 7 overall pick, and I'm torn between two. I'm like so torn between two. I think one I might be able to get later, so I'll wait on it. So for my third pick, I'm gonna go with Tom Ripley from Talented Mr. Ripley. Yep, I knew it. I knew you were probably gonna take that. So okay, yeah, give me Tom Ripley, Talented Mr. Ripley. I had not seen this movie until maybe 2 years ago.
How's the peeping, Tom?
It was yeah, I couldn't wait. Someone had to say that line. Yeah. How's the peeping?
PSH, man. Yeah.
So yeah, Tom Ripley. Hadn't seen the movie until a couple years ago. Watched it during the pandemic. Loved it, and he is fantastic in it. Total creep, total like weirdo, but really, really good. Again, shows a wide range.
One of my favorite like mini ensembles of those 4 people: Jude Law, Matt Damon, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, fucking knocking it out of the park. Movie was up for Best Picture. I think that was big for his career, and he has like that movie and Dogma coming up the same year is like is kind of a big dick move to me. Like, look what I can do. I'm like I can do anything, and I love that about Damon. I love that he sprinkles that throughout. So good picks. The Informant's underrated, and I'd say Mr. Ripley is too.
Yeah. All right. So
I did not rewatch that one.
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Back to Jeremy.
PSH. I have to talk about him. He has one line, or him and Matt Damon are like walking around, and he's like, "Don't you just want to fuck everything, just one time?" And Matt Damon's like, "No."
There's something about those like movies that are kind of like about high society, like where they're all like, we're very wealthy. That like, I don't know.
Well, but that's that movie is he's not, right? He's trying to break into that crowd.
He's a liar, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't remember much about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
a con artist essentially.
I remember thinking like this movie's very good, but like I don't like it, and I don't know why. I don't know. You ever watch something and you're like, this rules, but like it's not. I don't know. But I started watching that a few nights ago, and when I got home from work, and then I fell asleep in like the first 5 minutes, and I was like, I can't. I'm not going to rewatch it. I'm a little burnt out on Matt Damon too, though. Like
Understandable.
After like 16 Matt Damon movies.
Well,
but I've also just been obsessed with talking to everyone I can about it. Like, wait, what are you, Matt Damon? Matt Damon?
I gotta get use out of this.
So you've had like 10 Matt Damon conversations in the last week, yeah.
And this is like the third best one.
Yeah.
So take one of those movies, man. It's your pick again.
Oh, I'm up again. I'm actually not sure of the year on this one. This is the only first watch I did of Matt Damon. It's like an HBO original movie called Behind the Candelabra.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's Scott Thorson.
Yeah.
That's the character that he plays, and like this, like I think I said earlier, like I think this is the most unique role. I'm probably just gonna say that about every fucking one. But like this is the most unique Matt Damon role I've ever seen. And he's walking around in like a studded Speedo and like feathered hair with these giant glasses, and he's just like, I don't think I can take this anymore, Lee. You know?
Yeah.
Dude, Matt Damon's like killing it in this movie, man. Like, I mean, like I don't know what Liberace was actually like. Real quick, I should just preface this with Behind the Candelabra is a movie about Liberace and one of his several young boyfriends that he had over his career. And Matt Damon plays Scott Thorson, one who wrote a memoir about it, right?
Yes.
Have y'all both seen this?
This is the first movie that has been picked that I have not seen.
I love this movie.
Yeah, but I know I really would like to. I'll put it on my HBO.
Yeah,
list.
it was on. I was basically using Hulu because I have like Showtime and HBO tied into my Hulu account, so I was just searching Matt Damon and watching everything that came up, right? And that one kept coming up, and I was like, oh, "What is this? Like, it's like pink and white and shiny." And then I finally was like, why? Like, I don't know why I'm avoiding this. Probably because like some problem I have with myself or something. Who knows? Well, but then I was like, watched it. This is this is something I've never seen Matt Damon do before. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this movie a lot. It's from 2013. Definitely a movie that's kind of under the radar, critically acclaimed. Like people who like it really like it. I watched this movie with Dad back in, I guess, one of those 2 years, 2013, 2014, somewhere in there, and like fell in love with it because again, at that age, I was like 18 or 19, and I had it set in my mind that Matt Damon was either Good Will Hunting or like an action star. So seeing him play this character in another Steven Soderbergh movie alongside Michael Douglas, like going toe to toe with him was really cool, and another feather in the cap for Mr. Matt Damon. So that's a really good pick. I thought I'd be able to save that one for like the fifth round. So job well done. I like that one a lot.
No, yeah, that one like I mean I didn't have that. I had my short list like before I watched all of these. And then after watching that one, I was like, this has got to at least go on my short list. But the more I thought about it, I was like, this is one of his coolest roles, I think. And how like off the rails he gets towards the end, like drug addiction and the plastic surgery. He's flexing more than I've seen, like in a while. Like I kind of like to divide his career into like his early roles when he's got that little swoop thing, and then when he's like, I'm gonna come at you so hard, so fast, I'm gonna kill all of you, you know? Like those are the two eras of his career for me, right? Like that's kind of how I divided them before I saw this. And now like there's a lot more nuance that like I didn't really think about, you know. He's doing a lot more acting and all these things. And it's easy to pigeonhole somebody, but the more like if you watch a bunch of someone's work like all in a row like this, like it's easier to see like all these different things that they're doing. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a given, but you said you saw this when it came out, Austin?
Yeah, because it was just on HBO, you know, like
right,
it was
right on.
direct to HBO movie.
I'd never even known this existed until
I knew it was out.
I started watching movies for this,
which is funny that's like a big deal because that's just like how movies are released now. You know?
Yeah,
it's just like
right.
So Soderbergh was like way ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah,
two in a row.
I have two in a row. Those were going to be like my next picks. Was Talented Mr. Ripley and Behind the Candle of Love. I'm forced to.
Sorry, brother.
Okay, I have like 30 other movies, queued up.
30?
Not 30, like 12. But I could.
12
there's so many. Yeah.
If I want to add We Bought a Zoo, I could.
Yeah. I don't have nearly that many.
I wrote down 16 movies because I was like, if some of these get
obviously
stolen,
we're not gonna get
exactly
beyond that. I wrote 15. Yeah.
So anyways, I'm gonna take a couple more recent flicks. Because I wanted to stick kind of with the 90s theme with Mr. Ripley, but that's I got an audible here. So first one I'll take is The Martian, 2015, Mark Watney.
Yeah.
Just a movie star's performance. He literally carries the whole movie, directed by Ridley Scott. Did really well. People really liked this movie. It was well received. Got some Oscar nominations, and I think it did something for Damon's career. Kind of rejuvenated the success that he could bring to the box office. I think it's kind of a crowning achievement in his career. It's not one of my favorite movies. If I were picking a top five, I like movies that he's in. This probably wouldn't be very close. But I respect what he's doing in the film, how he carries literally every frame. And he's a botanist who's just kind of like just rambling the whole movie. So I like that for what it's worth for this kind of a draft. The next one, however, might be a bit controversial. I'm going to go with Carroll Shelby from Ford vs. Ferrari, 2019. I just watched this maybe 2 weeks ago for a Best Picture showdown we did last week. From that 92nd Academy Awards. Ford vs. Ferrari was up for Best Picture. It won like Best Film Editing and a few other things. Directed by James Mangold. Man, this is a fucking thrill ride. And you got Bale and Damon, really cool duo going at it. I think Bale as Ken Miles is a bit better, but Damon doesn't very often do that kind of that Southern accent so well. And Ford vs. Ferrari, he's like sticking to that character so strongly that I really believe it. With these biopics these days, I'm really picky about certain stuff. And for whatever reason, Ford vs. Ferrari, I have a soft spot for it. I saw it with Dad in theaters, and it's such a father-son type movie. Matt Damon's a father-son type actor, he's just one of those guys that you can just get behind as like a masculine dude, so very different from
like that. Yeah, that's the second time we've talked about it's like it's a parents movie, a father-son movie, like that. Matt Damon is kind of that actor that like, and I think it like a more broad way to say that is he does have this like wide scale appeal to so many different people.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I love Carol Shelby. Love that character. I also have a little bit of recency bias because I just watched it. There's one scene in particular where he kind of goes against Josh Lucas's character, and he takes Mr. Ford, Tracy Letts, who's awesome in that movie, takes Tracy Letts out in the car that they built for Ford to go race in Le Mans, and he takes Tracy Letts in the car, and Damon's like, "Are you ready?" And he's like, my last name's Ford. I was born ready. And he goes, "Hit it." And Matt Damon just puts the pedal to the metal and starts driving. The guy starts crying. Like Tracy Letts is just like, "Oh my God, I wish my dad was here to see this." And then Matt Damon looks at him and he's like, "Ken Miles is the guy to drive this fucking car. Like, if you want to win Le Mans, I'm telling you right now." And it's such an awesome scene, such a like bro movie. And I don't know. I normally don't like these things, but I have a soft spot.
I still have not. I haven't seen either. I actually haven't seen The Martian or Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, The Martian only works because of him.
Exactly. Like, I think there's maybe 3 people who could pull that off.
Yeah,
and he's one of them.
Who are the other? I mean, just for
the other 2, I
out of curiosity,
I do think Matthew McConaughey like has that ability to just talk and be like interesting. He's also done stuff similar like Interstellar,
and then Kenan Thompson, surely.
Kenan Thompson or
Kenan Thompson?
Yeah, I was just joking.
or Bobby Moynihan. I don't know.
But doesn't Bobby Moynihan have like the sketch where he's like on a rocket ship and he's like, "I miss my kitty"? Like,
yes, that's why.
You just watch him doing that in The Martian. Okay, right.
Yeah. No. I think Damon is the guy for that role, and I think
who's the third one? Who's the third one?
If I had to go with someone with Damon, and like, I don't think Leo could do it.
Yeah,
I don't think maybe Brad Pitt, maybe, but he's more built for like something like Ad Astra. I don't know. It might just be those 2 that I like really have in mind. But I'm sure if I really looked at it, I could find somebody else.
Well, to hear that like famous interview bit where Matt Damon does the impersonation of Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, Mr. Soderbergh."
I think this next scene would be a good opportunity for me to take my shirt off.
Yeah. So good.
You know who could do it? This is maybe this is over. I don't know. Like, but I think Jamie Foxx could do it.
I actually thought of him.
Yeah.
Especially 2015. Yeah. I actually thought of him as well.
Underrated Jamie Foxx. Underrated actor. He's like a celebrity.
Yeah. He hosts like a singing show.
Yeah.
Like Matt Damon's not doing that shit.
No.
All right. Well,
there's that like sitcom that Jamie Foxx did where he's like, it's just like a normal like family sitcom.
I have no idea.
I don't remember. I remember seeing there's like a trailer for it, and it's like what the hell are you doing? Like that's I think every time I see Jamie Foxx doing anything, I'm like, but that's because that's the kind of artist that he is. The celebrity that he is. It's like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Like.
Like, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that is. I mean, Matt Damon has like a piece of that because, like, we were talking about the Loki thing, and then he's in Deadpool 2, where he just play like him and Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Or like play those like redneck guys sitting on the bed of that truck, and they're like, I don't remember what they're talking about. They're talking about some weird thing, but they're in like tons of makeup, like unrecognizable. So I mean, he'll do that for like these superhero movies, these like goofy bit roles. But I don't, Matt Damon's not going to host like Karaoke Now or whatever the hell.
Exactly.
Maybe James Lynch or Jamie Foxx or Mario Lopez, whatever the hell people are doing.
Oh, I would hope not. I hope he doesn't ever come to that.
I mean, I'd be fine with it.
I'd watch it.
I'd be more likely to watch it.
Yeah.
I would be more into like Colin Sullivan, Sergeant Colin Sullivan with the Stadies hosting The Price is Right.
Like, he'd like subtly like kind of challenge people, you know, like, just
Price is Wrong.
He think you're better than me?
Yeah.
This is a thing someone should have tapped into by now. Like they just play their famous characters and host game shows.
That's good.
I'd watch it.
That's a
I mean,
podcast.
it's not good for them. It's not good for the celebrities. It's probably a bad move for them. But all right, it's my turn again.
It is.
Or, are we okay? I have to consult the list. You know what? I've had a recent one that I definitely wanted to do, so I'm just gonna do that. Jean de Carouge.
Yeah. I knew it.
From The Last Duel.
Ridley Scott again.
That was 2021 last year,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Another role where Damon is playing a piece of shit. I love Damon playing a piece of shit. He's really good at it, and he's really good at not being like. It's not like he's. I mean, in this movie, he's kind of playing like three versions of the same character, right?
Yeah.
And that's I think a tough exercise for any actor, and like. I really don't think this is him just like doing his best acting of all time, but like it's cool to just see him with like all the scars on his face and the kind of like medieval mullet hairstyle and like doing this like brutal like Ridley Scott like combat scenes. But also like much like he is in The Departed, like he's just kind of this infantile like man-child, like so immature, like he's such a fucking piece of shit deep down, like, and we like the reveal of that as we get to slowly see him act more and more like a fucking asshole throughout the movie. I mean, I know I talked to you about it, Austin, and I feel like I've talked to you about it too, Adam. Y'all both seen this, right?
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, how first he like portrays himself and his retelling of the story as like this gallant knight who's like a good husband and like. He's just not getting his hand, he's not getting his good piece, and like then he's kind of like a little more of a piece of shit. He's just kind of a dick that no one likes. And then at the end, he's like a bad husband. He's abusive, and we just get to see that subtle change like throughout the movie. I don't know if it's like, oh, it's one of his best, but it's fun. It's really fun to watch him play that character.
Yeah, I love that movie. I understand like why it didn't do better. It's like 20 years ago, Gladiator, which I like Gladiator a little bit more than Last Duel, but it's not like a better movie like in a box. I just like what changed where like this Ridley Scott epic that probably looks cleaner and looks better than Gladiator. Gladiator's got some holes in it. The Last Duel looks so fucking cool, has a really cool Adam Driver performance. Ben Affleck was nominated for like a Razzie, but I think he's fucking awesome in The Last Duel.
No, this is one of Ben Affleck's like I'd say for Ben Affleck it's like one of his top 5.
Yeah.
Top 3 maybe. Like I love Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's one of my favorite things in this movie. I think if we're going to talk about why people would maybe not like it more, I mean I think definitely people's tastes like on a wide swath and a general audience has changed. This movie's also saying a lot more than Gladiator.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's talking about like rape culture in our time period, There's the scene where Adam Driver is trying to kind of like convince Ben Affleck's character like, oh, well, a lady protests, that's what she does. Like she wanted it, Like it's like the same talking points that rapists use now. So it's definitely saying a lot more than Gladiator. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to say Gladiator's not saying anything, but this movie's pointing a finger.
Yeah.
A lot more. And especially like it's a Hollywood movie dealing with all the things that Hollywood, the Me Too movement, like has been dealing with specifically. So, I mean, that may have something to do with it too.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the taste of general audiences has changed. Like they don't want to watch this massive violent epic as much as they used to.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Sucks. Because it's a great movie.
No, I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, oh yeah. Well, yeah, I saw it in theaters. No one else I knew saw it in theaters. Like
I think you did, right?
I did. I saw it in theaters. Yeah.
Yo, you did? Okay. Well, I know you. So
yeah. Well,
we've met.
Not true what I said. Yeah. Well, yeah. What I said earlier was not true, but
okay, I'm incredibly torn on
You
these
have two
last
picks,
two.
and that's
I know,
it.
I know. There's one that I think I want to make. There's another one that I think Austin you'll take. You just have one left.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I'm not sure. And I really
I don't know because of right now. I don't know about the snake format. I don't like that you have to do 2 and you're done. Like that seems
well, but
it's got to end at some point.
yeah.
This is. I mean, yeah, sure, but
I almost want to go one more round, so I make sure we get all these guys on here. So there's one that I cross off right away.
That's the beauty of cutting it at 5 is there's exclusivity to it.
Yes, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. I do for sure want to take this guy because I'm not sure either one of you guys will take him. Jeremy, you talked about the kind of the like shit heel, version of Matt Damon. So this is maybe the movie of his, other than the Bourne movies, because I rewatched them the last week. The most recent movie of his that I've seen, even though it's like one of his oldest roles. And so I'm gonna go with Charlie Dillon in School Ties.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna do.
Okay. Well, I actually kind of disappointed because I wanted that to get picked. I just want to make sure this got picked. Because I had never seen this before. I watched it maybe 3 months ago, and thought it was so good. And Matt Damon, like, man, I mean, he's just such an asshole. I mean, at times is like this very like kind, like good friend, in the movie. And I guess people don't know, it's Brendan Fraser is this kid from like a kind of poor town that's like up in the Northeast.
Oh, the cast
set in the 50s, and he gets accepted into this like prestigious like prep school, essentially boarding school, and because he's a good football player. But then they find out after he's been there for a while that he's a Jew, which like doesn't go over well at the school, which like it's still like a little bit. It's like, I mean, obviously that was happening, that was like a true story, but it's just kind of like why do y'all care? It's like, what, like, who cares? It's just like when you watch it like through today's prism, it's like it's so easy to just be like, what does it matter? Like what is Jew or
like, what are the stakes here?
Yeah. It's like, but that's just that world, that like waspy world of like the Northeast kind of prep school, like where like presidents went to like that school, and like it's that type of kind of place. And like this is where these people who like have high up power in America, like this is where they're made, and so they don't like others being let in. So there's so many kind of interesting parts of the movie, and I really liked it. And the Charlie Dillon character is like kind of like the star of the football team, but Brendan Fraser comes in and kind of takes over that. But they become friends until they find out, that he's Jewish, and just the way he says like you're a Jew, like it's like so it's so like this kind of perfect Matt Damon, like only he could pull that off that way. Like the shit eating grin at different times, but then also the kind of anger, and then the kind of
that smirk,
yes, the smirk, man, it's so good. So and I really want to make sure this one got picked. So I go.
Do you remember what Ben Affleck's name in the movie is?
I don't know.
Chesty Smith.
Chesty.
Yeah, and Anthony Rapp is in it. Chris O'Donnell, like it's an awesome.
Quick thing, we were talking about Good Will Hunting earlier. So Casey Affleck's not in this movie, but Cole Hauser is in.
Cole Hauser is, yes,
he is,
and Cole Hauser is one of the guys in the friend group in Good Will Hunting. In School Ties, he's 16 in this movie. Like, and I don't you gotta watch it again. He's like huge. Like he's
I know.
Like a lot of them are like in their 20s.
Well, so is Brendan Fraser. Yeah,
he's all of them.
Yeah.
Well, then like you also got Chris O'Donnell is in this movie.
Yep.
And then I don't know this guy's name, but he's like one of the nerds in Dazed and Confused. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Anthony Rapp.
Yeah, the guy.
You just said his name earlier. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know his name. Yeah. He's like one of the most racist ones.
That's all right. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Charlie Dillon. Charlie Dillon is such a piece of shit.
Yeah. Good pick.
Yeah.
Not only like he's not just like racist like some of them. He's also just like a fucking piece of shit. He's like, well, maybe I can convince them all that.
Yes.
Like that David is the cheater. Like, yeah. What an asshole. But that grin, that 90s Matt Damon grin, man.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. So I have my last pick down to 3. I think you might take one of them. So I'm hopeful that it'll get taken. So the other one that I have is like maybe just a little bit too small of a role, but it was in a very important movie. So we'll see if one of you guys take it. So my last pick, I will go with Linus Caldwell from the Ocean's 11 movies. The Ocean's movie he's in, obviously Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. Just like such fun movies, such cool characters. They're all having like the time of their lives, like making those movies, and he fits right in. He's able to play that kind of like third in command, like kind of like somewhat of like an idiot, but also like clearly, the dumbest guy in the world because like he's able to help pull this stuff off, but like he kind of just like does whatever's necessary.
He's the capable idiot savant.
Yes, and I think that's really cool. And again, those movies are just like so fun to watch, and the chemistry between the three main people especially is just so good. So he fits right into that. So Linus Caldwell for my last pick.
Linus Caldwell. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that had to be picked. This is obviously Soderbergh. Is this the beginning of their working relationship? I think it might be.
Might be, yeah.
Which is a big deal. I mean,
what is that? Like, is that 2000s at that?
2001.
2001. Ocean's 11.
2001.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, damn! That's before the Bourne movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Before, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Linus Caldwell walked.
Yes. Yeah. Before Bourne. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think the best.
All right.
The best attribute of him in the Ocean movies is playing the third fiddle to Clooney, Pitt, and even Julia Roberts in that first one. Like, Like those are at that point, those three were like three of the biggest names in the world, and Damon's still like fighting for his for his spot. It shows like a willingness to like be a team player, but also I mean to me in those movies like him and Don Cheadle at times like fucking steal the show.
Yes,
and are so funny. So yeah, good pick.
All right, thank you. All right, Jeremy, last pick.
All right, I really only had one more written down, and I feel like it's kind of anticlimactic, but whatever. Before Jason Bourne could run and Linus Caldwell could walk, Rudy Baylor had a claw. No, Rudy Baylor, Rainmaker. John Grisham's the Rainmaker.
Good pick.
Yeah, okay. I remember Rainmaker having like a really rad score, but it actually doesn't have that rad of a score because it's like cut up between like traditional shitty movie score, like dun, 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 you know what I'm talking about? And then like Hammond organ, like you know what I'm talking about? I don't know. Yes. Rainmaker is a cool movie though.
I haven't seen Rainmaker in a long time.
I think that's actually the first one that I think I watched all the Bourne movies, and then me and Alex watched Rainmaker. He's really not doing anything crazy in this movie. He's just playing like the good lawyer who's fighting a good fight. You know what I mean? That's kind of it.
It's a really cool double feature with The Firm with Tom Cruise, like two pretty different like lawyer type movies. I watched those. I watched those
done that
one
before.
day at one point, and just the trajectory of their careers and like who they are as people. It's like vastly different, But no, the Rainmaker. Do you know who that's directed by?
No, I don't actually.
Francis Ford Coppola. Isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing that when I was watching it. Yeah, being like, oh,
that guy,
the Godfather guy. Yeah,
that's something.
That's a big name.
No, they're like. But I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Like, as far as Damon roles, like he's not really doing anything crazy in this movie. Like, in fact, it's like one of his tamest roles.
Yeah.
I think what's special about this movie is that Matt Damon and like Danny DeVito are on screen together a lot. And like, if you'd never heard of Rainmaker and someone told you, hey, there's a movie where Matt Damon and Danny DeVito are coworkers and they're working on a big class action lawsuit together, it'll be like, no, that's fucking horse shit. But it's real. Yeah, that's the last one I had written down, man. I really don't have anything else. And
well, then let's see what Austin picks for the last pick.
But Rudy Baylor, what a name, am I right?
Rudy Baylor.
Rudy Baylor. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Take us home, Austin.
This feels like it just had to be done. One of his more famous roles, famous movies, like just honestly like a borderline masterpiece. It's not one of my favorite movies, but it's like you can't really deny its excellence, and that's Matt Damon's performance as Private Ryan in Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
1998.
That's the one I hinted at, Jeremy. Yeah.
That kind of escaped my mind a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like crazy about the movie, but man, it's good. You know what I mean? It's just one of those like, damn, like what a spectacle.
It is, yeah. It's a spectacle. Spectacle is a great word for sure.
Yeah, and it's It's a movie that famously lost to Shakespeare in Love for Best Picture, and that's like one of the all-time "what the fuck were we thinking" type Best Picture losses. And
that's hilarious.
As time has gone on, it's become one of the more critically acclaimed war movies, and Matt Damon is quite frankly a massive part of it. And it's again that era is my favorite era of Matt Damon, that 97, 98, 99, trying to figure out who he is. Has already got this like star power quality to him, but could also come off the bench, and score 15 to 20 points. Like he can do both things, and that's like my favorite thing about him. So this is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I missed what year that came out. What year did that come out?
1998.
98. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got a couple 98s on my my roster here. So what do we leave out? That's like jumps out to you.
I have a couple honorable mentions. So they're not like movies. One of them I actually like quite a bit, but just a couple of roles that again kind of show his range. So his role Francois Pienaar in Invictus, as the South African rugby player who he's the captain.
Sure, yeah, no, yeah.
It would have been the only sports movie for a guy who's actually a huge sports fan. Well, I guess Ford versus Ferrari you could count as a bit of a sports movie.
But like in Invictus, he's a fucking beast.
Like he's the athlete. Yeah.
And he was nominated for Best Actor. Yeah.
Yeah. And he does a better job at the South African accent than I think a lot of people do.
Leo,
better than Leo. And then also Mitch Imhoff, his character from Contagion, was another one that I had as an honorable mention. I think that movie's really good and really holds up. Obviously, I watched it.
Yeah.
The pandemic hit, so that was another one that I thought about.
So there are those movies that he's in where he's kind of just like playing he's playing the role, but it's like the movie's not him. Like Contagion's not about that character. It's not a character-driven story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more about what's going on in the world, and I feel like he has a few like that. Like I watched Elysium, and like the movie's definitely not. The other two that I watched that I didn't really like, and I would never consider for this, like Elysium and Green Zone.
Yeah, Green Zone.
I mean, he's great in both of them, but it's really just not. It's not like, oh man, Matt Damon's so good in this. It's like, here's a movie, and Matt Damon is like the person we cling to in it. I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I think Green Zone's a good example of that. Yeah, that makes sense.
The one
I don't really like either of those movies either. I will just
they're
say
fun.
that real quick.
He has a lot of fine movies, but there's one that I think he puts in a like really random, really surprising role that like when I saw in theaters, I was like, what the fuck? Was it Interstellar?
Yeah,
2014.
What's his name? Or Man.
Yeah,
his name is Man.
Like I was like, he's in this.
I don't know.
And
I don't even remember that.
He's an evil motherfucker in that movie.
Yeah,
almost ruins everything. Certainly tries.
On my list as well. Yeah,
that one, True Grit. I think he's good in True Grit.
Oh god, no, I can't stand it. I can't stand him in True Grit, man.
I like True Grit. I think it's a cool remake.
I think it's good despite him. Like that's one movie where like I can't stand him in. And it's like I'm not supposed to like him in it. You're not supposed to like him. He's a piece of shit, right? Like LaBeef is not a good person. But like he's not. It's kind of like when you watch Sopranos and you're like, I'm not supposed to like Tony's sister, but like I also just don't like when she's on the screen, and I don't like not liking her.
Yeah, the execution. Yeah, it's like not.
Yeah, LaBeef is definitely that way. Like Matt Damon's character in True Grit. Yeah. I watched that one. I rewatched that one. Like can't fucking stand him in it, man. Like every second he's on the screen, I'm like, get out of here. Let me hear more like Jeff Bridges. Like I do not remember. I may have full temper.
Yeah, no, I understand. I almost chose
one of the only ones I don't like him in. I don't know.
I almost chose Stuck on You in 2003 just because he met his wife on set of that movie. They're still married and have like 4 kids together. It's a fun little Matt Damon.
Oh god.
But that movie is a joke.
That is an adorable factoid. and
Stuck on
needed to be said. Yeah, I mean
even
Mendes in anything.
Still married. I think Matt Damon
every time
he went to Argentina. I think Boca Juniors club game.
Oh, nice!
And was like, holy shit! Like
that's awesome.
So now he wants to go back. Well, he was doing some interview on one of the late.
That's cool. Was he there shooting something?
No, I think he was just there like visiting his wife's family.
Interesting.
No.
every time I think about like what I just said, you know, even Mendez and Stuck on You. Every time I think of something like that, I think of is it in Funny People that they're all like sitting around like no it's Knocked Up where they're like talking about like Eric Bana in Munich. Oh my god, Eric Bana in Munich. Like, they just are freaking out about how good he is.
Yeah,
and they're all like high out of their mind. Yeah.
Knocked Up's underrated.
I just think about the even Mendez always makes me think about the other guys where like
Sheila.
Will Ferrell like totally doesn't appreciate his wife's beauty, and
she's a 5.
Mark Wahlberg's like, he's like, that's your wife? Like, he's like, yeah, I feel ball and chain.
The other guys, what a that movie's 12 fucking years old. Like, how bizarre.
Saw that in theaters too.
Yeah.
We saw that Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to run down our rosters real quick. And then we can.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right. So for Adam's team, we have Jason Bourne from the Bourne Supremacy, Mark Whitaker from The Informant, Tom Ripley from The Talented Mr. Ripley, Charlie Dillon from School Ties, and Linus Caldwell from Ocean's 11.
Very happy with that 5.
That's a good 5.
Dude, Adam's team is like ready to pull a heist, man.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I didn't even think
they're
about that.
totally ready to like deceive someone. Like,
Jeremy, yours is quite rangy, which I like. You got Colin Sullivan from The Departed, Loki from Dogma, Scott Thorson from Behind the Candelabra, Jean de Carouge from The Last Duel, and Rudy Baylor from The Rainmaker.
Yeah, wow, those are quite different. Yeah.
Versatility.
And then I really didn't surprise myself at all. I got Mike McDermott, Mike McD from Rounders, Will Hunting from Good Will Hunting, Mark Watney from The Martian, Carol Shelby from Ford vs. Ferrari, and Private Ryan from Saving Private Ryan. So good job, fellas.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think it's 15 movies I would put on most days.
Yep. Me too.
So Matty D, Jason Bourne was the first pick. Feels right. And I think we can go ahead and start talking more about Ultimatum and really dive into Jeremy, you rewatched this movie twice. Adam, you just finished it like right before you started recording.
I did.
I watched it a few days ago and I've been mulling it over, picking awards for it and talking about my favorite bits. So we have the Quentin Tarantino Award for the best quote or your favorite quote, whatever. The Ennio Morricone Award for the best music moment. The Philip Seymour Hoffman for the best performance of the movie, which is kind of obvious with this one, but that's okay. And the Roger Deakins Award for the best scene. So, Jeremy, we'll let you start first with the Tarantino.
Oh, God. Okay. That's the quote?
Yeah.
I know you just said that. I'm sorry. I did kind of disparage the movie a little bit earlier. Like there's not a lot I can cling to, but there is this one line. It's a disjointed like collection of quotes, and I hope that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead with it anyways. But it's like Pam Landy is walking into the restaurant, and Noah Vosen, I think, is David Strathairn's character's name. He's sitting at the thing, and he says, like, I'll have the heart-healthy omelet with goat cheese and peppers. Like, just that collection of like words, it just like David Strathairn, like, oh my God, like it just sounds so great. But I also want to combine it with Pam Landy's later on as she's leaving, she gets up and says, like, enjoy your egg whites, just to give him an extra little fuck you. So I guess I specifically want to say Pam Landy saying enjoy your egg whites. Like,
that's good. I like that one.
But I want to, I do. You got to hear the beginning thing to go into it. There's not a ton of lines I really cling to in this movie, but that I love the way that Strathairn says peppers. Peppers. All right, that's my Quentin award.
Okay. I'll go second and Adam can go last. I don't think it's like the best screenplay. These movies aren't really relying on screenplay necessarily. It's more about the overall story of Bourne and kind of the execution of the action, the directing. And I'd say underrated cinematography, in my opinion. Not great shots, but can't be easy to make these movies. You gotta respect that about action movies. But my favorite bit of dialogue is between Matt Damon and Albert Finney towards the end of the movie. Jason Bourne says, I remember everything. I'm no longer Jason Bourne. And Dr. Albert Hirsch, played wonderfully by Albert Finney, says, so now you're going to kill me? And Jason Bourne says, no, you don't deserve the star they give you on the wall at Langley. So, and I always picture that in Colin Sullivan's voice. You know, it'd be that much better if it was said with a Boston accent.
Well, that's something Billy Costigan would have the right to say.
Yes. Yeah. That's
To
true.
Colin Sullivan, maybe. But
Yeah, to Colin Sullivan. Yes.
You always say that shit of Langley.
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know the name of that actor, but I heard y'all say the name Albert Finney over and over, and I was like, I bet you that's that guy at the end. That scene's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm gonna stick with David Strathairn quote because he's got so many good ones in the movie. But the classic, just like again, like this is like very typical. But when they first realize, I guess it's in Waterloo, they get that shot of him in the Waterloo station where they get that CCTV shot
Simon
of him. Yeah, Simon Ross, but wonderfully by Patty Considine.
Yeah,
who is doing some really good work in House of the Dragon right now on HBO. Yeah, and he. I mean,
oh damn, he's the king.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that. Oh my god. Yeah. Thank you for that.
So, yeah.
that
So that Simon Ross, all that whole stuff is really good. All three of these movies open really strongly. I think like that's one of the things that is really good about all three of them. But yeah, that Waterloo scene is fantastic, and you get that first shot of him on the CCTV cameras where he kind of like takes a glance up, and David Strathairn says, "Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne." And it's just like that's such a cool there's like a little pause right before it. It's so good, so well delivered.
I say that.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, so really good.
You say what all the time?
Anytime someone even if I'm at work and someone just walks by, I'll be like, Jeff, it's fucking Jason Bourne. And he's like, what? It's just a fun thing to say.
Someone stole a piece of bread. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's Jason Bourne.
And it's fun to change. It's fun to change the words at the beginning, like "Holy fuck, it's Jason Bourne." Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. Or, good golly gosh, it's Jason Bourne.
So yeah, that would be mine.
That's a classic. I mean,
classic.
it's one that's kind of a staple of the franchise for sure. So, Jeremy, we're on you for the Ennio Morricone Award, best music moment.
I'm not a huge fan of the music in general in this movie or the score. But I will say with the two Greengrass editions, Supremacy and Ultimatum, that synth string thing that kicks into that song at the end.
Yeah.
He says like
by Moby. Yeah.
Go to bed. You look tired, Pamela Andy, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
That's all, isn't it?
That's
right? It doesn't. Identity doesn't do it. It's two Greengrass ones. I don't think so. I don't remember.
That was like one thing. I was like, is it on all of them?
Yeah, no, it's on all three. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. All right. Well, I also missed Chris Cooper getting iced in the first one, so I'll take y'all's word.
The last 15 minutes of the movie are a little hazy.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah.
Step out for a smoke or what?
Cool. I don't know. I mean, I was really into that one. I don't know how I missed that. I must have been like, what's going on with my phone? I don't know.
Or did you get lost in the other 14 Matt Damon movies you watched?
Yeah.
Those were the first ones, and they're like the ones I was like least interested in. I don't know. So there's your answer right there. But
I mean that's all of our answers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although
I mean, what else do you cling to? Just like when he's running down the roof and it's like
yeah.
I mean, it's not like there's cool sounds going on. It's not like it's not a bad score, right? Like I'm not trying to say any of these movies have bad scores, but like if it's a score you don't really ever notice, that's not a bad score.
Yeah, I don't know.
I notice it. That's one of my favorite things.
I barely notice it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the movie is the score. Like
I'll
just like be walking down the hall at like the school I coach, and I'll be like I'll be doing the Bourne score. Like I'll just I've never heard anyone talk about how they like the score. But for me, it's this little synth strings at the end. Yeah. Like it's a great little signature. He's like, I got shot and I'm in the water, but I'm still alive. Or Pamela Andy, go to sleep. And Jason Bourne, he's doing it. He's Jason Bourne. Yeah, he keeps going. He's
Jason Bourne. Yeah, that what else can it be?
Yeah, it's a great song. I like Moby.
The Morricone Award.
Well, there's also, other than the score, there's like no like music, like
it's Moby and John Powell.
Yeah, it's like that's
and,
it.
Yeah, I don't know, Jeremy. I think the score is underrated. Like when I used to live in Romania and I would like walk around by myself around the city, I would like not only play it in my head, but like I would literally get on Spotify and play the John Powell score, and I think my favorite.
Not only would I play it in my head, but I would actually play it
in my head
on my headphones.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm not trying to say it's a bad piece of art or anything. It's just like, I don't know. Like, it's just kind of there for me. I don't know. There's there's not really any memorable themes or like, it's just but I will say that like when there's a score that I don't really notice the Bourne like scores. I'm never like, oh wow, that score piece is really cool. When you notice it and it's bad, like that's a bad score. But if you don't notice it, that doesn't mean it's a bad score. It's just like it's blending in so well with the art that it's accompanying, right? Because a score is a piece of art that accompanies like another piece of art, right?
Correct.
So it's definitely not a bad score, and I'm not trying to say that it's just not memorable for me.
Yeah.
Other than which is my pick for the award. It's the synth string. Yeah, is that everyone's pick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just not do like we've talked enough about it, right?
Move on.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might all have the same here. Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for the best performance of the movie. For me, it's Matt Damon.
I mean,
yeah. No, I wasn't going with Matt Damon.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Since y'all are both going with Matt Damon, I mean, I had 3 names written down. Do we want to talk about all 3 names?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Strathairn.
Yeah.
I mean, just that sneer in his voice, that nasally sneer. Peppers,
It ends when we won.
Yeah.
I actually wrote down. How did you say his name? Patty Considine.
Considine.
I wrote him down because, like, I thought that sequence is. Yeah, he adds a lot to the movie.
Yeah.
The other person I wrote down was because I was like, you know what, Julie Stiles needs some love.
I love Julie Stiles.
Nobody else hits Julie Stiles.
Yeah.
Then I was gonna hit Julie Stiles.
No, I think she's actually really effective in all 3 of these.
No doubt.
The scene where she is in the safe house in Madrid in the 3rd one, and she's kind of like faking, like she does such a good job on that phone call where it's like, no, like I'm fine, but like trying to play that. Like, she's like playing both sides so well. Like I think that's like a really well done.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, I don't think she ever do anything crazy. I think the best little bit of acting she does is when she's like terrified of Jason and Supremacy.
Yeah. And
I read that like as far as the source material goes, that like a lot of the plot elements are similar, but they completely change. They completely change the narrative.
Well,
right. So like some of the like Treadstone is in the novels, and like Jason Bourne's in the novels, and like Pam Landy's in the novels, but like they change like how everything works. So I feel like with Ultimatum, it being like there's a little bit of retconning going on with Ultimatum, where we're shown some things that we never saw before. I don't know. I feel like Nikki, like Julie Stiles' character, is kind of part of that retconning. That they're like, hey, some other stuff happened with Nikki and Jason, and what it is, like, we don't really know. Does anyone really know? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in the book. I can't like
Blackbriar.
Yeah, but also I think that a big thing with like all 3 movies, like compared to the books, is like when the books were written, the amount that changed in the world from 1990 when the last book was published to 2007, especially in technology, and how like obviously it's going to be way different. Because a huge part of the movie is the technology, like how we're able to trace and track and do all that stuff. And they're all 3 post 9/11, right? But all the books are written pre 9/11, so I think there's naturally going to be this like pretty big difference in how the story was told. From a CIA perspective, especially.
Europe changed so fucking much.
Oh my gosh,
in the late 80s. No, that's a good point. I've always been curious to read those first 3 books just for that background knowledge, but I don't expect these movies to be dedicated to that source material. But so your actual pick is David Stray there for.
I think officially I gotta go. I thought one of y'all would pick David Stray thing, so like I wanted to give Julie Stiles and Patty some love.
I'm glad you did.
This happens a lot on this show where I'm like pretty boring and I kind of pick the person who carries the movie.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. Not everyone deserves an award. I mean, it's not how awards work.
Yeah.
I'll go. Yeah, for my official, I'll go with David Stray.
Cool. I mean, the movie doesn't work without Matt Damon, so that's just
that's my thing. And like David Stray, as good as he is probably expendable. Like you might be able to find someone else to do that, or make his character less. I don't know. But like Damon, I mean, yeah, he's the
sure, but like Damon needs a villain.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, and like I also think Brian Cox
would Identity be the same as it was without Cooper, and would Supremacy be the same without Cox? Like, you need you need the next guy to come in, And
I agree.
He's perfect.
In both movies, we have someone from the other movie to kind of like give us some context and So like Brian Cox is in both, and Brian Cox is actually kind of like the less shitty one in Identity. Like we kind of get the idea that Chris Cooper is like more evil.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't know. But then the next one, it's like Pam Landy shows up, and it's like Brian Cox is obviously way more evil than Pam Landy, and then in the end, there's another guy who's also more evil than Pam Landy. I don't know. Pam Landy's just a good person. I don't know. I guess.
The another thing that stood out is like that isn't like addressed as much like in the movie as I'm sure it is in the book. The fact that he just like straight up murders Danny Zorn. It's like. That was like crazy. It's like a shocking scene. Like it's like, oh my god.
No, that scene makes zero. That scene is it's a huge like part of that movie. I think it's like a really memorable thing in Supremacy, but it doesn't really make sense. Like it doesn't really seem like his game.
Yeah, it's like this guy's just a murderer. Like this is crazy. I mean, yeah, it's like obviously he's a murderer, but like
it feels like his game is to get someone else to do it.
Yes.
Like it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, and like all that really happens out of it is like Pam Landy just like addresses it and just like, what was Danny Zorn? He's like collateral damage. And it's like, I mean, that's it. Like that's the only like you're not gonna be like, oh no, like I guess at that point she realizes he's probably gonna shoot himself or like shoot her, So I don't know. Like, yeah, no, but Brian Cox, man, it's like after watching, some like Succession, you go back and like seeing him in like roles like this, it's like, wow, I mean, this guy is just a massive like force on the screen. He is so good.
But yeah, I mean, there are certainly holes in these movies that
I think the books
that bother me.
Tie up,
and then there's just like choices that like I mean there's no other choice than to like kill Marie off in the beginning of Supremacy, but like it is also just kind of like you didn't really know where to go, like narrative wise. So it's like, well, let's just fridge the love interest, and that'll give Jason the motivation to do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, because otherwise he's just going to stay in India. Yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah.
Because then you got no movie. But
that's not a movie.
There's also just something that I don't know bothers me. Like that's the motivation you need. Like, what are we going to do? Let's kill the love interest. Like, why not? Yeah, it's like it's just a thing people use all the time. It's sometimes it feels lazy. It's like let's just kill the woman that he has sex with. Like. It bothers me sometimes. But what's the other way out of that hole? What's the other way to push him to his next thing? There's not really anything else because like that's the thing that gives him peace.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Makes sense.
Good shit. Yeah. All right. So Damon straight there.
Yep.
All right. Best scene in the movie. Jeremy, what do you got?
Best scene in the movie. I picked the Deacons Award. Yeah. The illustrious Deacons Award. I picked when Damon drives the car off the roof of the parking garage. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, really, this is probably my favorite car chase sequence of the series, and like it's maybe like the least bombastic, but like I love when he looks forward and sees that he's boxed in on top of the parking garage, and he's like, well, without really like hesitating, he's like, all right, I'm just going to drive off the roof then. Like, because like he's like, it's just like he knows, like, I'm going to live. Like, I know, like, everything this car is going to do. That's that calculating thing. That, like, cool thing about Jason Bourne is that he's just like, that thing he says in Identity was just like, I just know everything. Like, I don't know why I know everything, but he just knows, like, this is exactly how the car is going to fall. I mean, they don't really show us this, but that's what I was thinking about. They do a quick shot to like two of the agents, and he's like, he just drove the car off the roof, or some stupid shit like that. That choice, that like that directional choice, that like was like, let's just have him drive the car like off the roof. That would be super cool. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like that. Like, it's kind of like it's like mildly anticlimactic the way the car falls and hits the garage. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the craziest thing that's happened in these movies, but it's like, it's such a cool choice. Like, I'm boxed in, I'm driving off the roof. I don't know. That's all I really need to say.
Good bit.
That's my Deacon's choice.
Yeah. All right. You want to go, or me? Or we have the same thing?
Well, go ahead.
It's got to be Bourne versus Desh and Morocco.
Yeah, the rooftop chase in Tangier. Yeah, so I wrote the whole rooftop, not just like the fight with Desh, but the rooftop chase and the way they flip, like how he gets Desh gets, this is the operative that the assassin that they hired to put the bomb to kill Daniels.
And then kill Bourne and Parsons.
Well, but yes, but I love how they flip that, where it's like he gets that extra bit of information from Parsons, and then he has to look and be like, oh, but now I'm supposed to kill her? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But he's like, I can't question that. I have to just go do
and then
that.
I love how
the rooftop chase is so good.
And then when Bourne does kill him, he like flips it to make it seem like they're dead.
Yes.
Like the mission's accomplished.
Yes.
And it's like, no.
Yes.
It's just a brilliant. My favorite thing about these movies that I can't believe I haven't touched on yet is the locations.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah,
is
like the world hopping.
Yes,
like thing. Yeah.
Which is like seems like way too easy for everybody, but it's also awesome. Like, get there because they actually are on location at these places. They actually filmed at Waterloo and filmed in Morocco and Spain, and I love that about these movies, that you really do get a feel for the world, and Jason Bourne's kind of crazy knowledge of these things that never really gets explained. He's just this crazy experiment that can just kind of go all over the place and knows Waterloo like the back of his hand, and knows Morocco like the back of his hand. That bit where the fucking Bond movie stole from Bourne when he jumps through the window is so fucking sick. And then of course, in like, I think it's Quantum of Solace, I think they straight up like stole that bit because Daniel Craig like jumps through a window very similar. I was like, fuck off. Like, the Bourne movies are better.
So I think I'm glad you hit on the location part, because I think that's another reason these movies hit me so like at such a perfect time. So not the very first time that I watched them, but I remember there was a time where I got sick. I very rarely get sick or like had to like miss school or anything like that when I was like in high school and stuff like that. But I remember I had to miss, it was like a Monday. And I like was watching, I remember this so vividly. I watched a Packers game on a Sunday night. It might have been in January, it might have been like an NFC championship game or something, but I watched this Packers game. And then the next day I was home from school and I watched all three of these movies and like all the special features the next day. Like,
nice.
I had this DVD set that had all three of them, and it was right before or right after. It must have been right before I was going to go to Europe for the first time on my school trip with the high school that we went to. It was like juniors and seniors got to go to 3 different cities in Europe. And I was like, I had already kind of started to like fancy myself as like somebody who wants to kind of experience like the world and things like that. And then these movies combined with actually getting to go on that trip was like oh no, I want to do this like all the time. Like, I just want to keep going to like different places and like experience different stuff. And I think they hit this like perfect time. And the globe hopping and what I love, it's like a lesser movie when they do like, aerial shots or something like that. It'd just be like, here's the Eiffel Tower, like we're in Paris. It's like, it doesn't like it'll focus on things that aren't like so obvious about like the city, but like I'm in Paris. Like I think that is really smart.
In Morocco, they're like by a flea market.
Yes, and it's so clear that they shot so much on location. The only thing that they kind of cheated on, I think there's a couple of things they cheated on. They shoot a lot of the Moscow scenes in Prague. And then there's also, I think the bank scene, they're supposed to be in Switzerland. Yeah. But I think they might have been in Germany. I can't remember exactly where they were, but yeah, a lot of it is shot on location.
I can forget.
They're not supposed to be in Ukraine in one of the scenes. Like,
no,
I can't remember.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Okay. He goes to Moscow. Yeah. Because remember, that's where the Nesky girl lives that he goes to visit. Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah. But yeah, that is
not. No, that's in not. I'm talking about the beginning of Ultimatum. Is he in Ukraine in the beginning of Ultimatum?
No,
I don't think so.
no, he's leaving Moscow. Yeah,
Going to
I
London.
don't know why
he's trying to get out of
think
Moscow.
that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the Waterloo scene would be my second choice for the best scene of the movie. Just the
Yeah. That sequence is rad.
That's so well done, and the camera's tilting, and he kind
and
of
it's long. It's like 20 minutes of like holy fuck, like unrelenting energy and action. And
That's why I love like that Patty. He's so great at playing this. Just like I'm way in over my head, but I'm kind of like trying to pretend like I'm not, and like I kind of think that I'm not. Like
I'm doing my job.
Because he tells him he's like don't go outside. He's like I think I'm gonna go for it. Like I gotta go for it. Someone's watching me. And like it's like you idiot. Like and it's so easy. You're sitting on the couch with like a bag of chips. Like what are you doing? Don't go out that door, man.
Edgar Ramirez is gonna shoot your ass. It's got some. Bourne Ultimatum is really is between all three of them. It's like the most like holy just thrill ride. Like
it's got some like rad sequences for sure.
Yeah, and like I love when he's injured and he's like going through the train, you know, and he's like holding his leg and he's and he's like such a methodical scene. There's some great bits, and I love the ending. I love him and Albert Finney going toe to toe, and you kind of get a lot of stuff explained, and you get closure on like who he is and like what Dave Webb means. I love the bit of 417-71 or 415-71.
Yeah.
I love that little twist. I love when he's in David Strathairn's office and he's like funny because like we would be having this conversation face to face.
Yeah, I doubt that. He says,
It's a good, it's this movie you can't pick out like Jeremy picked out a moment, and I have a hard time doing that because it strings together so well. And that's probably its strongest, trait is.
Well, it's just I guess more like sequences, but I mean, like before it was like I really love the scene where he like steals that cop car, like like I do love those like quick little moments where he just does like where his like choices are just like fucking. He's like, awesome. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. He's like a great character.
His choice to just like drive off the roof.
His speed of thought is incredible. Yeah.
Well, that's why I love the scene in Identity when he's talking to Marie and he's like, I don't know why I think this, but like I can't remember quite everything he says because it's been a couple weeks now. But like,
he's like, I know all the license plate numbers and all the cars outside.
Yeah, right. He's talking about like how he's like assessed everything going on in this diner.
I know what the exit signs are. I know exactly which one I should leave from.
No, it's great stuff. So if we all ranked the trilogy, like for me, it's Identity, Ultimatum, Supremacy, but it's close.
Yeah,
what do you got?
I'm like right there with you.
Okay, Adam.
Supremacy is my least favorite one, I think.
But they're all like four.
I don't know.
They're all like 4-star movies for me.
I don't know. I mean, it might be boring, but I might just go 1, 2, 3. But I do think what 3 has over 2 is just the like sheer amount of like really cool scenes. You know? Like that's the that's the one thing. But I think the opening of 2 is really really good. But
when they're in India, and she gets shot, God,
and we're introduced to Carl Urban.
Yeah, that's a breathtaking.
Carl Urban.
I love how Carl Urban's character is just hanging out in that like the club,
like den,
in the middle of the day.
It's like noon.
It's such a good bit. Anyways, this is fun.
Yeah, it was.
Doing these awards is fun. So we'll finish off the episode here. We've been recording for a while. We'll finish off by looking at some of these categories from the 80th Academy Awards. Bourne was up for 3 and won 3, which is just kind of crazy because the other 2 movies weren't up for anything. I'll kind of run through these real quick, and then you guys can say what you will about them, or you can talk about other movies from that year. I don't really care. Best sound editing, Ultimatum beat No Country for Old Men, Ratatouille, There Will Be Blood, and Transformers. Crazy group. Best sound mixing, Ultimatum beat 3:10 to Yuma, No Country for Old Men, Ratatouille, and Transformers again. And then the last one, I believe, is film editing. Ultimatum beat The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, Into the Wild, No Country for Old Men, and There Will Be Blood. So
the sound
it won all these Oscars.
It won all 3. Yeah, it won all 3. So the sound categories make total sense because like it's unbelievable how they do like the car chases, the car crashes, the car. It's like it seems so real. Yeah, it was just like all of it sounds so real. So
it's the technical shit that like really shines in this movie. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I don't understand how to quite place it or explain it, but like that's really what's really great about these movies, right?
The stunt work, yeah, too, yeah.
Just how badass it is.
Yeah,
yeah, it's just awesome. See, I have no problem.
Shit that goes into making like a high quality action movie is like
top of the line.
Yeah.
I find it funny that Ratatouille is competing against the Bourne Ultimatum.
I know, yeah. I was like, what? Ratatouille? That's like out of place in that category. Yeah, that's just like
Transformers. It's also like Juno is going up against like There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men. I mean, like what? That's also kind of silly.
Like these movies are like like going for very different things. So, yeah.
So all right, let's jump to that. The best picture category.
Well, real quick, I just thought of this. I want to make sure I say it before I forget. I should have told the story when we first started talking about the movie, but I saw this movie in theaters with Marty Cruz, who we went to dinner with the other day, Austin, and RJ Braun, this other guy I went to high school with.
Nice.
RJ Braun, who when we walked out of the movie, Marty and I were like, that was so awesome. Like, I love that. Like, I want to see it again. RJ Braun was like, I don't know, like kind of unrealistic. This is a kid who, at the time, his favorite movie was Grand Theft Auto.
Tokyo Drift.
It was Tokyo Drift. Fast and Furious Tokyo. And I was like, RJ, are you kidding me? Like, that was unrealistic? Like, I was like, what compared to Tokyo?
Wait, I'm sorry. What is unrealistic?
He thought the Bourne Ultimatum. He's like, it was too unrealistic.
Bourne Ultimatum. Okay.
Yeah, it was too unrealistic. But this is from a guy whose very favorite movie was Tokyo Drift. It's like, what?
So awesome.
That doesn't make any sense.
I love that take. Yeah.
Anyway, I just feel like I need to tell that story.
Yeah. So like this ceremony to me, like personally, and I think a lot of people around my age, I think people in their 20s and 30s, especially dudes, look at this ceremony and they see No Country for Old Men beating There Will Be Blood. And it's kind of like, whoa, these two signature movies of the 21st century, Coen Brothers versus Paul Thomas Anderson. Just, you can't find two better movies to compete against each other. That does not happen very often. We're in the same year. It's like, these two movies could win any other year. And they have that going for it. The other movies are Atonement, Juno, and Michael Clayton. I like Michael Clayton a lot.
Yeah,
I don't think it has any business, competing against No Country and There Will Be Blood. I like it,
but you had to nominate other movies though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This guy, it's just to put them on the screen at the show, right? I mean, I don't know how it works. But...
Well, yeah, you had at this time they had 5 every year, no matter what, and that's like that has to happen. For me, in my perfect world, I would have had Zodiac up as well, and I'd probably take Atonement out. And then I'd also have 310 to Yuma competing and take Juno out. That would be like my ideal 5. But I get it. Atonement was a huge movie at the time.
310 to Yuma fucking rules.
Yeah,
I love.
I wouldn't mind that.
Underrated.
There.
Underrated.
Yeah, and it was up for other stuff. So like I wish it would have been up for Best Picture, but for you guys, I know y'all both are fans of No Country and There Will Be Blood. Like where do you guys stand on that coin toss?
Yeah. Between the two of them?
How much have I lost my coin toss?
I was hoping. Yeah.
So
how much? What? I can't remember the line.
The most lost on the coin toss? Yeah.
What time do you close? Now is not the time.
That was not the time.
So yeah, this movie
is so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
This movie year in general is. I mean, I don't like it has like 5 of like my very favorite movies. Like, like 5 of my maybe like, 10 to 15 like favorite movies all in one year. Like, and I don't know if I didn't see them all when they came out. Like, actually, there's a few like I saw them later. Like, I saw Michael Clayton probably like 5 years later. Like,
yeah.
I saw Zodiac maybe 2 years later. Zodiac has become one of my very favorite movies. But yeah, both of them. I mean. I don't even know like what to say. I mean, it's like y'all probably done episodes on.
We did No Country.
Okay, yeah.
So we're saving There Will Be Blood for next summer.
Man, talking about a score, There Will Be Blood. Yeah, just
Johnny Greenwood, baby.
Yeah. Whereas as opposed to No Country for Old Men, where there's zero music. So
no, it's a great counter.
Yeah. They both kind of like go hand in hand, and they were shot like in the same area in
Yeah.
the part of Texas. Like,
Yeah.
like what's the story where they could see what was it?
Yeah, because there's a huge fire scene where HW in There Will Be Blood
yeah.
loses his hearing, and the Coens could see the fire in their shot. And they're like, "Fuck off!"
Yeah,
Like there was tension for sure because they both knew what they were doing. Like they were making their. I don't think I'm not wrong saying this. Those are both of their masterpieces. There Will Be Blood is definitely PTA's masterpiece, along with you could say Boogie Nights, but like come on, like There Will Be Blood is an achievement, and No Country is an achievement for the Coens. It's like they are certified American classics, and the fact that they could see each other filming, and they were like everybody knew it was one of those two movies winning.
For me, this is getting probably like maybe deeper than anybody even wants to get on this podcast, but like I don't know if you guys ever looked into like what your like Enneagram like is like number is and all that stuff, and so mine, I can't actually remember what my number is, but I know I'm an enthusiast, which like totally makes sense. Like I think the people who know me well, like once I kind of like reveal that, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like I get really like into stuff. Like I can't. It's hard for me to just like follow things casually. Like I have to just be like try to be like an expert on stuff. And so many of these movies, and I know Fincher has said this like himself about like Zodiac, but these other ones too, they're just about obsession and like how people get obsessed with something and like really like just dive in that. Whether like obviously in my life I don't ever go so far to where it's like everything else be damned. But in a lot of these movies, I mean Michael Clayton, Zodiac, No Country, obviously in
you do not want to be Daniel playing
there will be blood is like the ultimate example of like obsession gone wrong, and even Bourne Ultimatum, it's like he's obsessed with like finding out like where he came from, why did this happen to him, why did like I think that the through line of all of those, like why those five are some of my favorite movies ever, it's like because I kind of relate to that. It's like that's like
Ratatouille,
the worst.
Obsessed with making good food.
Yes, no, genuinely, I mean, Ratatouille is really good. So I really like that there's kind of a through line between all of those, and for me personally, like that just kind of hits home.
Yeah, good shit. Also, Darjeeling came out this year for Wes Anderson. So
see, but that's not one of my favorite of his. So
it's like one of my 3 or 4 favorites. It wasn't going to get any Oscar love, but that's okay. Jeremy, where do you stand in the No Country, There Will Be Blood camp?
I already said the right movie won, man. Like, I don't have much to say other than that.
Well, like, didn't you rewatch both of them?
Yeah, the right movie won. I don't know. Like, what?
Okay, no. I have no problem with that. What's No Country? I feel like you saw this one in theaters, right? Or am I wrong?
No. I watched it. I watched it in a hotel room.
I watched it on a plane. Yeah.
And I hated it the first time I saw it. Actually, for a long time, I watched this movie to fall asleep because I hated it. Like it was on streaming, and I'd be like, well, I'll put this on because I can't sleep. And then one time I put it on because I couldn't sleep, and then I couldn't sleep because it was so good.
And then you never slept, yeah.
And I didn't. Yeah, I was up till like 5 a.m, and I was like, "This is like the greatest movie I've ever seen." Yeah. What the fuck? Why have I never? Why did I not like this in the past? There Will Be Blood. The first time I saw There Will Be Blood, I was a teenager, and I remember telling people, I don't know who, just anybody who would listen, just like, it's not that good of a movie, but like Daniel Day-Lewis is so good at it. And I don't even, like, I just remember saying that as a teenager. But it is definitely a very good movie, and Daniel Day-Lewis is very good in it.
So you're right about one of those things.
Well, I was right about one of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had kind of like a weird relation. I mean, I saw these movies like I watched this movie with Blaine, with her dad, in a hotel. Like, I don't remember when. I don't remember how long ago. Like, I just didn't get it. I mean, No Country for Old Men. Sorry to specify. Yeah. I just didn't get it. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. I mean, it's got these like intense kind of like anticlimactic things that happen. Like nothing good happens, like, I mean, the bad guy gets away, and the like our kind of like hero is like a bit of a coward, like, but really he's just like doesn't want to die, like he doesn't want to get involved with this crazy shit because like, and he knows that like he's not that person. And then our kind of our kind of wild card character, like he dies off screen, like really unceremoniously. Like it's a heady story, and as like a what I would say as a kid, like it just made no goddamn sense to me. It wasn't until like I could just like really consume it that I was like, this is like one of the greatest stories I've ever like come across. Like I love this shit. Like, you know, and I'm not sure if I'll ever read the book that it's based on. But as far as just like a narrative with its archetypes, like it feels like fresh, like it feels different.
Yeah.
It feels like a different story than anything I've ever come across. Like, and that story of like obsession that you're talking about with There Will Be Blood, like, well, it's cool, and like it is like this ridiculously nuanced, like incredible performance that like maybe only Daniel Day-Lewis is like capable of, and this weird like rivalry he has with Paul Dano. It's almost like a one-sided rivalry. Like there's so much going on there, and like yeah, the score is just like ridiculous, but there's something like so dismal and like horrible and like and kind of horrifying about No Country for Old Men, and like the story and that and the way that it ends, like it's so the way that it ends is just like so depressing. Like not depressing in the classic sense that like wow someone died or like this is sad. Like it's just like fuck, like life really is just a barren hole of like horrible things. Like
well, and like this is when obsession goes wrong, this is where it gets you. You know, like ultimately it's like this is fruitless pursuit of just like more. It's like this is where it lands you, you know?
Right. Well, and I mean I guess I'm kind of seeing that through like the view of I can't quite remember Tommy Lee Jones' character's name. Like just this kind of like he talks about these dreams at the end of the movie, and he's like, and like his last thing is he's just like, then I woke up, and his wife's just like, just nodding like with this like smile on her face, and then it's just like the last shot is just him with that classic like Tommy Lee Jones concerned look, but yeah, very much so. Like obsession does play into this, and like it's almost like it's less than the obsession of like what these two characters are after, what like Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin are like after just this money. They almost get into this obsession with just like their battle with each other, you know, which ultimately comes to nothing. Like,
yeah, it's Ed Tom Bell is your man Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, that's Tommy Lee Jones. Ed Tom Bell.
Yeah, my favorite quote is at the beginning when he's like, "Wow, I was sheriff when I was 25 years old." My daddy
the thing
before me.
At the end, yeah.
Yes.
I always like listen to the old timers. I listen to them any chance I got.
Yeah, and I've always loved. I say this a lot on our shows. The Lewin Moss quote, Josh Brolin, when he is about to go back out to go like basically fuck his life up by going back out for the money, and she's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Fixing to do something dumber than hell, but I'm going to do it anyways."
There are a ton of great lines like that. I love like when he's talking to the lady at the hotel, and she's like, or he says like, "I know what more beer leads to." She's just like, "More beer."
Oh yeah, it's both of them are great movies. I've talked about them both and referenced them both a ton, and they're just they'll go to the grave with them.
Yeah, I mean they are. I mean, not to like diminish There Will Be Blood at all. Like Daniel Plainview has some just like just his just like those endless shots of that like really anxiety inducing score while he's just making these speeches, and you know he's just fucking lying the whole time, you know. And then he even says things where he's like I'm not much of a speech maker, like, but he's just doing it all the time. Like,
yeah, it's like no, you definitely
lying
think you are,
to everyone.
Yeah, I love. Well, yeah, in There Will Be Blood is like it's not rocket science, you know. It's capitalism, religion, you know, obsession, and the American dream. Yeah, it's like it's a movie I feel like had to be made at some point, and who better than Paul Thomas Anderson, like in his late 30s, you know, to do that. So, just a match made in heaven, and you know, I think those two movies will kind of go down in history, and it's a cool ceremony because of those two movies. Like, there's not a lot. I'd say like ones that stick out, like Jaws versus One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975 was like a real like thing that was happening, a real conversation. That just doesn't happen very often, where there's like actual two great movies that are still great in people's eyes today. So I think it's a special thing, and Ultimatum competed at that ceremony.
Yeah. And I didn't even mention 2007. I mean, this is not about obsession, but one of my very favorite comedies of all time, Superbad. Also,
Superbad's great.
So yeah, 2007, a wonderful movie here.
Also Superbad.
Also one of the craziest comedies. Yeah, like the death of comedy was of that studio comedy was happening around then. So fascinating time. This is great. I had a blast with you guys today.
Yeah, me too.
Doing the Bourne Ultimatum, the Matt Damon draft. Let me see. This is we're recording this on Friday night, or Thursday night. So this will be coming out on Sunday if you're listening. On Wednesday, I'm trying to see what we got coming up this week. Wednesday will be Sleepy Hollow. Nice. On FILMGAZM. That's episode 100 or 212. Jesus Christ. And then on Friday, Beyond the Bad, it'll be Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. I believe that will be Caleb and Josh knocking out that. Josh is back from his deployment, so he's going to be on a lot of episodes. We're glad to have him back. But anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Keep following us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's always at FILMGAZM. Check out our website. We got new reviews up nearly every day. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday.